Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. All right, just had dinner, and Shell and I were watching John Oliver's broadcast from a month ago, where he was offering a $1 million a year contract and a $2 million top of the line motor coach to Clarence Thomas if he'd resign his position from the Supreme Court. Um, John Oliver is very enlightening with his shows. Very humorous, great dry English sarcasm uh, style of humor. If you're a fan of Python and other British comedies, you certainly would appreciate John Oliver. But he brings up a lot of interesting points and facts and connects them. Just going over Clarence Thomas's his history and how he got to where he is now. This reading was originally going to be on the Comstock Act, but I think I'm just going to make it a general Clarence Thomas reading, see where he's at these days. But we'll touch on the Comstock Act. The Comstock Act is something from the 1800s that was supposed to prevent people from sending lewd and lascivious packages through the mail, like pornography. But it was also meant to include, apparently, abortion drugs. And Thomas and Alito were both questioning those who were supporting Mr. Pristone if they heard of the Comstock Act, and saying it's not some minor piece of obscure legislation. So it's kind of giving a wink and a nod to anti-abortion right-wing groups to pursue this path to see if they can sort of force the Comstock Act. I don't think in and of itself can stop the shipments, but it's kind of like, here's a couple steps down the path that you need to go down. See what you can do with it type of vibe. So, Clarence Thomas, what's going on with you right now? You've got all sorts of stuff going on in your life, and I'm just curious what Spirit will share with Clarence Thomas and what he's doing. Entertainment purposes only. Clarence Thomas, the whole thing with the John Oliver was Thomas opining that you do the Supreme Court job for the ability to make policy and not for the pay. And prior to being the Supreme Court, he was wanting to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, which he does now. He makes just shy of $300,000 a year. But I think that pales into comparison to what private practice would entail. And it was only in the late 90s, actually in the early aughts, when Clarence Thomas was making noises that he was going to leave the Supreme Court, did a pay raise for the justices get installed. But they haven't had a pay raise since, or at least nothing of significance. But Harlan Crow and some other billionaires started paying for vacations and motor homes and, motor coaches and other things. So Clarence Thomas has lived a very nice lifestyle on the dime of billionaires. So there he is holding the dime. Page of Pentacles crossed with Temperance, the Moon card underneath. This is about, he's still dealing with the mystery of his finances and the dissection of those finances. We've heard multiple intuitives discuss seeing Clarence Thomas stepping down from the Supreme Court, maybe because Ginny gets sick and he's going to step down and take care of Ginny's health. And now that I say that, that's exactly what this could mean. I need to step down and I have to take care of somebody's health. And it's somebody who's not feeling well. Good Lord, are we? I guess we're close to that, huh? We're in April. No, we're not April. We're in March. We're almost in April, and the election's in November. Yeah, this could be. This could be only 6 to 8 months, 9 months away. That he could be in this situation, and there's mystery surrounding it. I'm gonna have to I'm going to change up this reading. I think that the discussion about Ginny's health is starting to happen. Things are moving. And again, this is the moon card is about the moon eclipsing the sun. So we've already passed the lunar eclipse and we've got the solar eclipse coming. Good Lord, where's this reading going to take me now? I was just thinking he doesn't want to leave the job because, if he's not a Supreme Court justice, well, who's going to pay his bills? The friends that he has now, they may dribble away because, they, unless they plan on keeping him because they actually do enjoy his company and he's one of the boys now, he's not, he can't be used. Forgive the bad analogy, and John Oliver used the one about three people who never hung around you start hanging around you after you start working at Cold Stone Ice Creamery because they want the free ice cream. It's kind of like you get your driver's license and now some people are friends with you because now you can drive them around. Now, if you no longer have your driver's license and can't drive them around, well, do they really have a use for you? In the past, we've had the victory. Clarence Thomas has been a successful Supreme Court justice. He's gotten everything that he's wanted out of that job. Because to him, again, setting policy was worth it, but the pay was lousy. But he hasn't had to suffer with the lousy pay for the last 20-something years because he's had billionaire friends gift him things. That luxury motor coach that he had, again, listening to John Oliver, he borrowed $250,000 in I think it was the late 90s from Harlan Crow, maybe the early aughts, to buy that motor coach. And it's considered like, the Rolls Royce of motor coaches. It's a really expensive rig. And Harlan Crow basically forgave the entire loan. I don't think Clarence Thomas declared that loan forgiveness on his taxes. But that's what legally you should do. If you have a loan, having just done my taxes, and on the form, it says, has a loan been forgiven to you, or have you been unable to collect on a loan? Because if it's been forgiven to you, you have to declare that as income. If you can't collect on a loan, that's a capital loss. You can declare that on a 1040, like a 1040B form or something along those lines. It's a capital loss, a 1040D. I think D is the capital losses. But regardless, he's had his cake and eat it too. That's where I'm going with this. That's the 10-second explanation of my 2-minute explanation. Current situation. 3 of Cups. The Supreme Court right now, it's in its heyday of cases that it's listening to. They listen to substantive cases, but look at the ones they're looking at. They got to keep Trump on the ballots in Colorado. They're going to rule on presidential immunity. They overturned Roe v. Wade. Lord knows what else they're going to do. So there's celebration on the conservative side of things. But there's one other thing to consider here. There's 3 liberal members of the court. And are they all women? I believe they're all women. Ketanji Brown. Is there one guy? Maybe there's one guy in there. I'm forgetting the Hispanic one, Ketanji Brown. This could be the celebration of the 3 when he has to leave to take care of his wife. That's where I'm going with it. God, I can't remember the Supreme Court justices' names. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's the only one I needed to remember. Okay, so that's the current situation. The Supreme Court's taking up a lot of conservative cases, including overruling Roe v. Wade, and now they're talking about mifepristone, amongst others. But there might be celebrations again for the liberal justices if there's a health event that's coming forward here. Overarching energy. So this is the underlying energy. This is kind of what's affecting all the mystery and secrets that are going on over here. But right now, what you've got is the Page of Swords. Messaging, new ideas coming through. Even with like the mifepristone, It's not going to be overturned. The Supreme Court isn't going to get the Comstock Act passed, but they are messaging to the folks on the right, the anti-abortion folks on this. You're on the right track. Keep going down there. Keep digging. You might find some gold because you already have a couple of justices that are encouraging you to do that. So you already have 2 of the 5 votes that you need. If he does leave, it also means that we're going to have a new, potentially a new justice coming on. And we've got Joe Biden in as the president and currently a Democratic-controlled Senate, which means that they could actually nominate a Supreme Court judge and have it come to the floor. Now, wouldn't that be interesting? Especially if Mitch McConnell is still the Senate minority leader at that point. If, Justice Thomas steps down before the election, say September, and Joe Biden decides to ram through his Supreme Court justice pick in 6 weeks. I guess the precedent has been set. As long as the party in power is the one can nominate their justice, and if they've got control of the Senate, well, fair is fair, right? I would really love to watch the GOP twist themselves into a pretzel and go back to the, but you can't do it for a year before an election rule, non-rule. Lesson to be learned is the emperor. Losing focus on this reading here. If this was Thomas, worried about his money and being, losing his job, losing his money, being excluded from the group, he's been victorious. He's been included in the group. He's been celebrated by the group, but he's kind of an outsider in that group, and he knows that he knows that if he's not a Supreme Court justice, he's not a member of this group. He can see the reading on the wall. If he leaves because he's taking care of Ginny's health and her health is not good, again, he's been victorious in the past. This could very well be a celebration by the liberal justices because a new justice is going to be coming in and it's going to start balancing the power on the Supreme Court back towards the center. And if it happened before the election, it won't happen before the election. But if it did happen before the election, Mitch McConnell and the GOP have nothing to say. They would have nothing to say. Outcome is judgment. If he leaves voluntarily, he's no longer a member of the club. If, that's why he doesn't want to leave, because he knows he won't be a member of the club. But if he does leave for Ginny's health reasons, probably what this means is that he will avoid judgment. That might be one of those ones that if you leave, because they can't get rid of him, short of an act of Congress. But if he leaves, then maybe we won't prosecute you. Just go. So he's got some things. I think both of those things are happening. He's contemplating leaving the Supreme Court. I do think he's contemplating. It's still a nascent idea. It's not a well-developed thought. But he's thinking about it because, dude's old. He's been doing it a long time. And he probably these last 3 or 4 years, it was only, the ability to stick it to the libs and overturn Roe v. Wade that's kept him going on the Supreme Court. Otherwise, he's probably tired. He probably wants to go tour in his motor coach with his best friend. God bless you. You got a best friend that you can go tour the world in your motor coach with. But the expensive vacations and the private jet planes and the invitations to the all-boys club, he knows those are going to go away. It may not go away right away, but it will go away, and he knows that. How is Ginny's health? What's going on with Ginny Thomas's health? What can you share with me on that? Ginny Thomas, is something going on with their health? Yeah. That was the cross card. She's dealing with something. She's dealing with some toxicity. Now, you could say she's in a cult with Trump, and therefore, she's dealing with that toxicity. But there might be something else. There might be something liver related or kidney related, because the liver and the kidneys are the one that remove toxins. The kidneys remove toxic material from your urine, and the liver is just the general garbage pit that removes things that are toxic in your bloodstream. And temperance is about purification. So kidneys and liver both do purifying of the blood and of your urine. Or actually, well, of your blood. It gets excreted in urine. Forgive me, I never took a physiology class, but I know a little bit from college on this. It might be a very, very important illness that she's dealing with. Yeah, we'll see what the other cards are now. And there's the Moon card again on the bottom. Guys, Ginny Thomas is not well, and Clarence Thomas knows it, and he's thinking about leaving. This doesn't mean it's terminal. It just means that she's getting ready to call to a close a certain phase of her life and starting a new phase of her life. Now that new phase of her life might be an afterlife type thing. Again, the king is dead, long live the king. But whatever it is, this is important. 3 major arcana on the first 3 cards. This is a mystery. People don't know about it. Only, like, Ginny knows about it, her doctor knows about it, Clarence knows about it, and probably not too many other people at this point. Entertainment purposes only. I'm just some random dude on the internet throwing tarot cards. I'm not a doctor, and I've never diagnosed Ginny Thomas. This is purely speculation on my part on my interpretation of tarot cards. Thank you. It's a Supreme Court justice after all. Cover your ass. Let's make that 4 major arcana. There's something big going on here. In the past, we got the Star card. I don't think Ginny's been taking very good care of her health. Again, you have the water here with purification. I think it also stands for intuition. And again, the water going from cup to cup is purifying. But Ginny hasn't been taking care of herself. And this part of this might be diet related, but it might also be, I'm assuming she doesn't have a drinking problem, but this could also be something like, the diet of propaganda that she takes, the QAnon stuff. She's a star in Clarence Thomas's role, but I don't think she's been taking very good care of her health. Either, again, through the news she digests, or the food she eats, or the stuff that she drinks. Current situation. Wow, 6 of coins. Coins are about health and wealth. Considering somebody's health, and you might have to step down to do charitable type work. Not necessarily hospice work, but staying home to take care of your wife. And it's going to cost you money to do that because you're going to have to leave your job. But more importantly, with him leaving his job, it's the perks that he gets from his job. It's not necessarily the paycheck, it's the perks that he gets. And there's your scales of balance, which to me, again, legal type things, that he might have to step down from his legal job to take care of his wife if his wife is not doing well. They both could have health problems, but I think it's his wife here. Okay, that's why. I was saying, it could be something that she's eating or drinking. Page of Cups is my QAnon card. I think she's been consuming too much QAnon sense. And she's been drinking too deep from that Kool-Aid. And I think it's causing some issues with her. Now I'm wondering if it's brain issues at this point. I'm trying to look back here to see if there's anything that would indicate, dementia or something along those lines. I don't know what dementia looks like in my cards, but there's something going on. I really do believe there's something going on with her. When it comes time to make that decision is going to be made quickly. He's not there yet. He's only just begun thinking about it. But there's going to be a decision, and it'll be made quickly. It literally will seem to come out of left field. Like maybe we hear Ginny Thomas is sick, and within a week he's resigned, or faster, that type of thing. Or maybe he resigns first, and then we hear later that Ginny Thomas is not well as he gives his goodbye speech or something along those lines. Outcome is the Queen of Swords. Whatever she's got, she's not going to recover from. I don't say it's karmic, but it's kind of like as I used for this card. This card's like, if you drink a lot, you're going to get cirrhosis of the liver. If you smoke a lot, you're going to develop lung cancer. You smoke 3 packs a day, you didn't think you were going to get lung cancer? Of course you were. It's just a matter of when, not if, type of thing. So whatever Ginny's been doing, it's kind of like, yeah, this was what was going to happen. Like if she took on a lot of QAnon stuff, let's say it started rotting her brain, as it were, and she starts developing dementia. It's like, well, yeah, you took in a bunch of QAnon stuff. Stuff's going to rot your brain. And it did. I'm not victim blaming here. Just saying that you are what you eat, you are what you consume. And sometimes that's a good reason to take a break from the news. Or even political tarot readers. I almost didn't do any readings tonight. I wasn't feeling it this afternoon. And I've been doing, I think only once have I missed doing 2 videos in a night. I don't think I've missed any nights. And I've been doing that since the end of May of 2023 when I first got monetized. When I first got monetized, I was trying to think, okay, what am I going to do that's different than other readers? And one of the things is like, well, I'll put up a video a day. It's like, I'll probably put up 2 videos a day. Because at that time, there was so much news going on, I could always find 2 things to read on. And oftentimes, I would record 6 or 7 videos, and I didn't want to wait on any of them, so I just would release them all. And so, you don't hear from me for several days, and all of a sudden you get 5 or 6 videos to chew on, and then you don't hear from me for a while. And in May, I decided that, yeah, you know what? I'll just do 2 a day. And I pretty much have kept to that, even on my vacations. When I went up to vacation in Niagara Falls, I managed to get a couple videos out. And when Shell and I took a vacation in Mendocino, I did that. And tonight I was just like, I may not do it. But John Oliver inspired me, so here I am, and here we are. And I got a great Clarence Thomas reading, and interestingly enough, a Ginny Thomas reading. 2 for 1. It's been a while since I've read on them. It's been a hot moment. Okay, what else do we want to know? I don't want to stop now. What can you tell me about Ginny Thomas's illness that she might be going through right now? If not going through now, something that's coming up. Let's just do a 4-carder on that one. It's hereditary. Whatever it is, it seems to be hereditary. I'm sorry, 10 of coins. 10 of coins is about intergenerational wealth. It's family from grandparents to grandchildren, but it's also about your DNA. And coins can be about health. They can be about wealth. So if we look at DNA, hereditary stuff, this is health issues that are hereditary in nature. 5 of Swords, impacting intellect. And it's all or nothing. So, okay. I'm thinking about my genetics here. Whether that's a mutation of a gene or it's a hereditary thing where you've got dominant and recessive. If it's hereditary, it's a dominant trait. It's something that's a dominant hereditary trait. Ace of Cups, affecting emotions. Passions. Knight of Wands, and it's a slow progression. Swords are also about intellect. and it's Wheel of Fortune karmic. It's been something that's been progressing for a while. Could be karmic in nature. Impacts her emotions or her ability to express emotions. It would not surprise me if it's Alzheimer's or something like that. Swords are about intellect, and when you get to Alzheimer's, it's like you start losing everything. You don't recognize these people anymore, and they're sad because you don't recognize them. You're off in your own little world. It gets hard. You're not expressing emotions. I don't know if that's really true. Shell's mom had Alzheimer's, and she could cry because she was in pain, but it wasn't, lonely. She couldn't express emotions. That was just not what she could do. And then you've got the Knight of Wands, which is a slow progress type thing. So, and that would go well with the QAnon. Two things with the QAnon diet or the consumption. One, it rots your brain because it's just telling you lies and fabrications, and it requires you not to think and use critical thinking. So your brain is basically rotting and atrophying, and it's being corroded with that information. And where else was I going with that? And then it relies on outrage, scares you, causes outrage and stuff like that. And maybe, you have a breakdown to the point where, now I'm not going to say she has a lobotomy because I don't know if they still do that, but it's like, what does fear and outrage, what does that cause as far as health issues? I think it causes liver issues, huh? Stress causes ulcers, but throw that one in the comments. That could be a fun discussion, especially if you're a fan of Eastern medicine. I think they discuss that. Anger, rage, fear, how does that manifest itself in illnesses? And what's that going to impact? Is that going to impact your liver, impact your kidneys? I bet you it impacts your liver. All right. If Clarence Thomas steps down, what happens to his friendships with his billionaire friends? We'll close it on this. When Clarence Thomas is no longer a Supreme Court member, what happens between he and his billionaire friends? Chariot, things move on. Maybe move on without him. Two of Coins, yeah, because you're not as valuable as you were. Your value is decreased. Yeah, we still like hanging out with you and everything, but just maybe not all the time anymore. Strength card. Oh man, that's a horrible picture. Yeah, this is like tolerating things. Yeah, we tolerated you. We took it. You helped us. We helped each other. It was a mutually beneficial relationship. But it's not you, it's me. It's just kind of time to move on with things. Money decreases. Yeah, I think with this money decreasing for Thomas, this is like Thomas moving on, and he's watching his lifestyle decrease. Not only can he has to, his health is going to decline, his wife's health may be declining, his standard of living declines. Whereas before, Seven of Wands, he's holding his job, he's doing all the things, and he gets to enjoy all the all the trappings of it. Again, we have the strength card underneath here. This is kind of that tolerance of, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but you got to be there for your wife. We didn't invite you to the boys club in California because we knew you were taking care of your wife, and we shouldn't take you away from her. They're going to look at him as a burden, or he's going to find things really difficult taking care of his wife. His friends aren't answering his phone calls. The money is now drying up. He's going to have to shoulder more of the financial burden himself for his lifestyles. What would a reading be without the Drunken Hillbilly Brawl card? Overall, the overarching energy is just turmoil. it's not going to be a calm time for him. It's going to be a rather anxious time for him. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. You know, he's got, again, if he's stepping down to take care of his wife's health, it's going to take a lot of energy to do that. And if he doesn't have that energy, he can't be in the fight. Before he could do it, but now not. And it's like the chaos. He enjoyed the chaos. He enjoyed the hustle and bustle of hanging out and doing stuff with these guys. And that energy is there, but he's not included in it. Oh, that card looks familiar. Lesson be learned is the Page of Pentacles. On the one hand, I think he's glad to be out of the Supreme Court. But on the other hand, he knew that this was a risk. That staying home to take care of his wife's health might mean a decline in his standard of living, in his wife's standard of living. And, in a sad kind of way, this is him coming to that realization that they've just been tolerating him this whole time. They weren't really his friends. They used him. They used his position and his energy to advance the things that they wanted. Outcome is the Knight of Swords. I don't know if Clarence Thomas is going to go on a crusade, but these two cards came out before, the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords, the signifier and the outcome. This is all predicated by Thomas leaving suddenly to take care of his wife. The nice lifestyle decreases and life moves on without him. And he starts to find out he's taking care of his best friend. Things can change in an instant. His best friend and his I'm surprised the Knight of Cups and his billionaire fake friends who are using him aren't there. He could have a very lonely life coming up very soon. Again, if Ginny Thomas is his best friend and these billionaires have had him around, you can think of the double body blow if he loses his wife and he's lost these guys too. It just, now what you've got is a bitter and angry old man, former Supreme Court justice. What are you going to do? He's bitter, he's going to be angry, and he's going to be lonely. Not a great combination. I don't know what family is like for him. But things are going to get a little bit difficult for Clarence, for Justice Thomas. I think things are going to get difficult for him. So I wouldn't revel in it. It's just sort of understand that for all the aggravation that his rulings cause us and kind of the arrogance of the person, it could be in just a few short years, he's reduced to a shell of what he was of a man. He's a shell of a man, shell of what he was before. And in the core of that shell, angry, loneliness, bitterness. Not a great place to be. I hope he finds some enlightenment during that time, because it's going to be pretty dark times for him if things go the way I think they're going to go on this one. So if you have it in your heart to send him some light so that if this does come to pass, that he could find the strength to find the beauty that's within him, go for it. That's high vibrational stuff right there. Anyways, I'll leave it at there. I'll leave it with this. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for your likes, shares, comments, everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so that my video makes it out to a wider audience. To folks just discovering this channel recently or for the first time, welcome. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.